All right, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. All right, the time is now 90 minutes after the 9 o'clock hour in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Today is the 19th day of May, 2023. By the way, we're live on Facebook and YouTube at WEFM 99 SVG. What to do first? Should I wrap up on that mental health illness there and deal with the most recent case of indecent assault, or do I deal with the IS first and then the MH after? Which one first? Which one first? Rock, paper, scissors. All right, so let's deal with the mental illness first, right? Now, something you have to take seriously. And if you've ever listened to a couple sessions, you know that is something that I touch on from time to time. You gotta take care of yourself, people. You have to take care of yourself. And if you notice that there's somebody around you that is not acting in line with what you're accustomed to, they're acting out of character, you are worried. If you're worried, that is the first indication that something might be wrong. If you are worried, if you don't know what to do, reach out to the authorities. There are unload of people. There are people who know what to do, how to do, when to do, and why to do, who can direct you. If it ain't sure, reach out to somebody who knows. People know where to go when they want things. Go. Get the help for yourself, get the help for your people, get the correct information that you need. Don't study money. Don't study money. Because there are places that you can go to that don't require money. Take care of yourself and your people, and by extension, you're taking care of the entire country. I don't know when we collectively are going to take this a bit more seriously, because it impacts people's lives, it impacts people's livelihood. By extension, it impacts the economy. If money is important, let me stress that again. By extension, it impacts the economy. And it impacts crime. It contributes, rather, to crime. It's a very, 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 very sad story. And there are other stories like it. If you know that your friend or family, there should be no stigma attached to it. Just like how somebody can come down with a cold, you can get a flu, your body becomes ill, your mind can also become ill. Take care of your mind. Feed your mind with positive and good things. We need to become a little bit more self-aware as a people. I don't know what it's going to take and how long it's going to take. But you see, there are folks out there who can't. Let me not. Take care of yourself. You can't be living your whole life stressed out unnecessarily. Putting yourself through turmoil unnecessarily. Deal with your issues before they fester up. Let me take this call and then I'm going to wrap it up. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Crystal.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Well, just listening to you giving some good advice there about taking care of yourself. But you know what?
What?
You can take care of yourself. I can take care of myself in our own way. But what about the importance of having a good man or woman by your side? One who understands and appreciates what life is all about.
How does that tie into taking care of yourself?
Of course, we all are one flesh and blood, so to speak. When you speak like that, you can't just leave me half of the way and that sort of thing. I welcome, I appreciate your advice and so on. I mean, as you're going off there on that particular
Not yet,
um,
Carl. Not yet. Hold a second.
subject of
Mm.
taking care of yourself.
Right. So
Well,
before you even get to the yes, we're social beings. It's nice to have somebody by your side, not necessarily romantically, but it's nice to have support. You have to take care of yourself first so that you can have healthy
yes,
relationships with other people. So my
that's
what I
right.
what I just said still stands. And I ain't including getting nobody next to you in that. Take care of yourself first. And when you're whole and healthy,
Come
then you
on,
then you then you work on.
I'm just helping to broaden the scope of what you're speaking about.
Right. I appreciate the
Do you
input.
think, I?
I appreciate the input.
Yes, because and I'm asking a personal question
Yes, my
here,
personal question on the
and I
radio.
say personal in terms of, do you think that a man should live without a woman, or a woman should live without a man throughout his or her life? Do you think that should happen? Hello?
Whatever makes he or she, whatever makes them happy, whatever floats the boat, once they're not committing any criminal offense, do whatever you want. So you happy by yourself,
Yeah,
do whatever you want.
you bring in a strong word about criminal. I wasn't thinking about anything criminal here. I am just looking at us as man and woman. Some of us are so obsessed with our own selves that we do not take time out to look at life when it comes to a good, healthy relationship. Some of us believe we could do without a man. Some of us believe we could do without a woman.
Sometimes
So
it's
that's
better
why
to
you
be by
bring this.
yourself too, because the quality people out there just ain't making no sense.
Haha. Well, I'm glad I pulled that out of you too. So what is it? What is it? Did God make us to be like this?
I don't believe so. We
Well,
make
all
we make
right.
poor
So
choices.
yes, yes, and I agree that
Hmm.
because throughout my life, my experience, I have had many encounters, and I have learned by all these things. So sometimes you want who you may choose, as you talk about choices. You choose them because of your particular understanding of that individual. You might like the flashiness, the instant, you know, gratification you're getting and so on, right? And talking about instant gratification, everything I notice, and I'm sharing it, everything I notice and I observe these days is centered around sex. I don't know how you look at that, if you're seeing that, but everything is centered around sex.
Most things are centered around sex. Most
And
things.
why? Why?
Because it sells, and that's what they sell too. It sells and they sell.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So, but the thing about that is how some of us sell ourselves cheap too. Very, very cheap. If I talk about the flashiness and, somebody who's popular, somebody in the spotlight and all of that. I want to see, I've seen myself as a critical thinker who likes to get to the deep root of life and living and that sort of thing.
Hmm.
Some of us are good. Some of us are good at imposing and impressing, you know,
Okay. All
people
right.
around us and so on, without some of us not being aware, because we don't think critically. I,
Yeah.
sometimes, for instance, I hear a conversation on the radio, and I think to myself, I will not participate. Or if I have to participate, I'll give my critical comments about where are we going with this? What does that mean? Is this something that we need to follow or to be a part of?
Hmm.
I
Okay.
don't think my problem, and this is Dave Robert
Right.
speaking,
So
and
you
that's
got to
why
wrap
I
up in a
call
few
my name.
seconds, because I want to move on to something at 9:30.
Okay,
Mm.
well, whatever you question me, I have I let you take first, right? Because I'm anxious to hear what you want to move on to. But I just wanted to add my little 2 pence, 3 pence, although we don't know nothing about pence now, or 3 cents, I should say, but you can't get 3 cents now. So
Okay.
have it your way. I'll give it your way.
All
Give it
right.
your way.
All right. Thank you. Have a good one. All right. A few seconds shy of 9:30. So I don't know if you've seen this, but there's another story of an indecent assault charge against a man. He has pleaded not guilty, set to return to court on September 18th. Now, just last week we had this conversation. But it's an ongoing thing. It is ongoing. And what I said last week, I'm going to say again this week. When matters like these come out that are before the court, I prefer to reserve comments, prefer to pick sides until the very end, when the court decides whether or not the accused is guilty. It is not to justify, it is not to, and sometimes people will assume that you are going to speak along a certain line or jump to certain conclusions because you're female. And if with an accusation or allegations, something that is before the court, you try to justify or speak to the opposing side, you are against the female because you are female. I think it's best, like I said last week, to be as neutral as you possibly can. But there are so many things that can be touched on concerning indecent assault and sexual offenses, generally speaking. So many things. As a woman, I hate to hear these things. Hate to hear these things. Especially when these stories are coming from the woman. Not necessarily when you hear them coming out of the court, especially when they're coming from the woman. You know that there are some women out there who have held on to trauma for years upon years upon years and have never ever dealt with it. There are girls and boys who have been sexually violated who never said anything. They might be in their 20s. No, they might be in their 30s. They might be in their 40s, 50s, 60s. Carry that weight throughout their entire lives. For men who are guilty, and I'm speaking generally here, for men who have gone through the courts and they have been found guilty, I cannot understand to this day, I don't think I ever will, why a man would want to violate a woman point blank. Do you consider how detrimental your actions can be towards a woman's entire life? Some women can cope, others can't. Some women go to therapy, others don't. Some women can form healthy relationships after, others don't. Their lives are completely destroyed because of your actions. You obviously don't consider those things. I'm speaking to the guilty man. You obviously don't consider, you never consider those things. It's all about you, and what is it? The power. Because women are deemed to be lesser and weaker. What is it? You got something else going on up there that you need to deal with? What is it? Every week? Every day? Every hour? You know what is also something to think about is for the guilty and the convicted of these sort of crimes. How your family coping? How the people that you have given a sort of impression to, people around you who thought, I mean, you wouldn't go around with a sad face, whatever. But how do they cope? How do you cope as a family member? When your brother or sister, in some cases, your uncle, your father, your son, is convicted and found guilty of a sexual offense. How do you, as a female relative, cope with something like that? And I'm stressing convicted and found guilty for two reasons. And I'm going to state one is because the way our society is set up today, I don't know how we reach here. I feel like too young to know. But there's the sort of ridicule that some women get from women themselves too. Because they speak up. Make it worse if they take some time to speak up. And that's something we need to understand. It's not just somebody hitting somebody. It's not just using mean words against somebody. The act of sex is very intimate. It's very intimate. It must be so hard. And to make it worse, sometimes these people are walking around in our society. They know what they have done. Jesus Christ. And sometimes you see why I always say at the end of the shift, if you see something, you suspect something, open your mouth and say something and look out for those who cannot look out for themselves. I'm not necessarily speaking about children all the time, but there are some people who just don't want to because they are not emotionally strong enough to speak up for themselves. And it starts out in private. It starts in private. because the moment are not strong enough to deal with these things and to have to deal with society and to have to deal with the neighbor looking at them a kind of how and the rest of the community, because word spreads all the time. It is just too common. It is too common. It is too common, and we're too comfortable. We are too comfortable with these things. You have to be so careful when you have girl children and boy children too, because you got predators everywhere. What is it going to take? What is it going to take for us to properly deal with these things? What? I don't think we've ever heard the worst of the worst. I hope whatever it's going to take, it comes around soon, because these stories are extremely traumatic. And I empathize with women and girls and men and boys who have to sit back in their offices and probably hold back tears when they hear these things on the radio, or they hear the news on the television, or they hear the co-workers suing about something else, or talking about another occurrence, and they have to hold back tears. They have to go to the bathroom. They have to message somebody before they break down in the office or wherever, in a bus or whatever. You watch somebody, you don't know what baggage they're carrying. And to think that there are people who just don't care about another human being and their livelihood, it just upsets me. And I could never understand it. When are we going to get to the point where these stories and occurrences are few and far between? When? What is it going to take? Consistently talking about them? And let me throw back in mental health here too. It is obvious that certain things are not priority. It is so obvious. You have a match here, you have a match there, and then you go back to normal. You go back to business as usual because there's no money to be derived from it. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. But moon does run till they catch them. Moon does run till they catch them. With that, I'm going to wrap it up. See a 3-minute voice note there. You were trying to call. I couldn't take the call because somebody else was on the line. But for God's sake, leave people alone. Leave people girl picnic alone. Leave people boy picnic alone. Leave man alone. Leave woman alone. Leave them alone. Go study yourself. Violate yourself. Leave people alone. If somebody were to do what you did or you are doing or what you are thinking of doing to somebody else, to somebody who's very dear and close to you, you would not like it. Respect. That's all a lot of women are asking for. Respect. Children are also asking for respect. Time to wrap up and head on out. Thank you so much for joining us. for another edition of Activated Mornings. And let me tell you something, right? Never, ever, 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 ever tell a woman what she can or cannot speak about that affects her. Never do it. When you see somebody talking about something that affects them, whether personally or gender based, leave them. Don't try to shut him or shut her up, especially her, because it'll say to that person that you are also part of the problem for more than one reasons. If you see something, you suspect something, open your mouth and say something, and look out for those who cannot look out for themselves, the vulnerable folks of our society, because they need us. And as usual, start each day right with an attitude of gratitude. Find something to be thankful for, and you'll find with time and persistence and being present in the moment, things will begin to change for you. My name is Crystal, officially signing out for today. Coming up next is Community Dateline. Have a wonderful weekend. Be safe.